I want to take the time to explain to you a trading strategy that I find to be very effective. It's one of many tools in a tool belt, but I know of traders who will use this trading strategy and it's all that they do. That's entire trading strategy and they do very well. And I've had some success with this and I want to forward this on to you in a way that's easy to understand. And I promise you, if you are willing to just take a few minutes of your time, a little bit of your brain energy, you will understand how to trade based off of this strategy. So bear with me for a minute. I think it's going to be beneficial to you. But before we dive on into this, this is not financial advice. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. And while I appreciate that so many of you are hopping in here from all over the place, you've got to hit the subscribe button. I make videos multiple times a week, almost every day. I've been doing every day. I took the last few days off to just kind of get caught up in life. And I try to go live multiple times a week. I go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday on YouTube. And so hit the subscribe button, turn the notification button as well so that you don't miss a thing in this rapidly evolving crypto space. But before we dive on in, well, no, we already dived on in. So let's get into swing pattern failure trading. What are the advantages? Number one, I mean, what with trading in general, I don't have this on this slide here, but with trading in general, this can be utilized on the way up and on the way down. You can make money shorting the market. You can make money longing the market. With swing pattern failure trading, that's very much true. That's even more true, I think, with swing pattern failure trading than with other methods of trading. But then other things in this slide, this can be done on any timeline, on a 1 minute chart, on the 5 minute chart. I actually prefer the 5 minute chart. It can be done on a 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 day chart, 1 week chart, 1 month chart. And so we'll take a look at some examples on the shorter time frames, and I'll show you how this can be done on longer time frames as well if you're not trying to be a day trader. Next, this can be done with very high levels of leverage while also having a significant risk to reward. And so what do I mean by that? This means that I just this morning attempted at least to open a Bitcoin long with 20x leverage. And I'll show you that long here in a little bit. And my loss, my potential loss was only $40, but then my potential gain was much higher than that. And that's the kind of benefit that you have. You can do really tight stops on swing pattern failure trading, and you can benefit from, if you are able to get a good entry, maximal returns. And then the third thing I want to say here is hit rates as low as 50% or even lower could still provide positive returns. So if you have a win rate, of something like 40% and maybe even like a 1 in 3 win rate, this is a method of trading, I believe, that you can still win on in terms of dollars. So again, lots of potential benefit to this kind of trading. So let me exit the slideshow here and I'll get to the additional questions to ask later. Bitcoin, let me show you Bitcoin historically, because what we need to talk about first is the structure of what a swing pattern failure trade is. And so to start out, what we typically look for in terms of are we in a bull market or are we in a bear market is something called a higher high or a higher low, lower high, lower low. If you remember those 4 terms, those 8 words, I suppose, you will be able to have the infrastructure as to what traders look for in a market. And so you can see here, 2021 is just a perfect example of this. We had a higher high in January of 2021, a new all-time high, $42,000, had a higher low than the previous low. This is on the daily chart. Each candle is 1 day. Blew up to a higher high and then put in a higher low. A new higher high, $62,000 or so, a higher low, and then a new higher high, $64,900 the day of the Coinbase IPO in 2021. But then we had a lower low. And so when traders saw that first lower low, there was a significant shift in their understanding of where we were in the market. And then, of course, we put in a lower high, and then boom, huge flush out of massive leverage. And that sent us down to that summer mini bear market before putting in a new all-time high in the fourth quarter. And so this is what we look for. This is always what we're gonna look for in terms of Are we in a bullish trend or a bull market or a bearish trend or a bear market? Remember these words: higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low. Uh-oh, things are looking a little weak in the market right now. So then we're looking for a lower high before expecting a new downtrend. And then this particular downtrend would just, it went out, immediately. So what does this mean for swing pattern failure trading is that when you see the lower low, you are now looking for an entry to short Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency at a higher level. Now, this one wouldn't have worked out because there was enough weakness in the market. But what you would be looking for is the first red candle before the move down to the lower low, which what would we call it? I mean, you could say, what I would say is that it's this red candle. I'm going to draw a rectangle here, a box, just so we can see it. This would be your entry here. And actually, did it fill it? I want to be completely fair. We came very close to hitting that, but there was enough weakness in the market at that time that we didn't quite hit that level. But this is what traders were looking for. This is what the everyday trader was looking for an entry on a short so that they could make money on Bitcoin on the way down. And so that is essentially the bare bones structure of a swing pattern failure trade. You look for the first candle, or excuse me, the last green candle for a short before another leg down, or you look for the last red candle on a long before a trend up. Let me show you some examples. This is going to be easier to understand with some examples, some recent examples that I have done on swing pattern failure trades. So you can see Pendle here. I'm going to need to zoom out on Pendle for a second here. Look at how close this was. This was very much a local bottom. This was last week from the day that I'm making this video. So we can see here, I mean, it had a nice rounded bottom here, but a downtrend with Pendle. This is the last of the higher highs, but then a low, lower high, lower low, barely even a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. And then let's zoom in again. And then this candle right here, this one right here, if you're watching my screen, from $4.18 up to $4.42. This is on a 1 hour timeline. Each candle is 1 hour. This was our sign. This was the sign for a new entry on a long, on a Bitcoin long. And so where's that last red candle? It's right here, this spinning top doji right here. Another sign of a trend reversal. I mean, it's on a 1 hour chart, but a sign of a trend reversal that we can see right here. And okay, so that is my zone. That's the zone that I am looking for. Pendle's up here right now, $4.46. I am looking for a new entry on a Pendle long right back at this red candle, and then look exactly what happened. We got the entry, and I entered this long, and it did well. It did very well. And so this is an example of a swing pattern failure long. Now, some other examples here. Let me show you. This was Bitcoin last week as well. Same exact thing. Same exact thing. We can zoom out here, and we can see, okay, this is on the 5-minute chart. So it's a much narrower zone here. But, the highest high, but then lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, higher low, higher high. And so now again, and then for sure, so what I did, I actually did this on a higher time frame, so I didn't even see this higher high right here. But then this higher high, this high volume move higher, that was not mistakable at all. And so what do? I look for the last red candle before the big move up, and I'm setting that zone, the entire body and wick of that candle. That is my entry for a long that I'm looking for. You can do this on longs, you can do this on shorts. I, just I'm willing to do it on longs and shorts at any time. But considering the fact that we are in a bull market, which I very much believe that we still are, then I'm going to be looking to long more than I'm looking to short. If we were in a bear market, I'd be looking to short more than I'm looking to long. And so then after setting that long, I did have to wait for a while. I mean, this is 5-minute intervals, all these candles, and a few hours later, it finally did fill, and it went to the exact bottom of the range that I was looking for. And did I have some short-term losses there? Sure, I did. But look, I mean, it went exactly to the bottom of that range that I was looking for, and I set along, and then we were off to the races. Now, this one in particular, I did paper hand, but I made some decent returns on it. So there's another example of a swing pattern failure. You look for the last, you see the higher high, you look for the last red candle before that new higher high, and you set along within the body of that candle and the wick. So one more example, Solana. This was me again last week with Solana. And so Solana, same deal. Let's zoom out real quick and see. You can see here's the most recent high. This is on a 5-minute chart. So higher high, higher low, lower high, lower low, lower high, same-ish low, but then definitely a lower high, and then definitely lower lows here. And we're looking for potentially a higher high. There's a lower high at $121, lower low, and then, well, actually equal low, but then here's the higher high. Here's the higher high, $122.39. And so I'm waiting to set my long, and this one actually filled within only 15 minutes. And so where do I set my long? This one was a lot of wick, this body right here, a lot of wick. But that's all that's my zone. That's my zone where I entered a long, and then boom, it went perfectly. It bounced perfectly off the top of the zone. And so where do you set your longs? That's up to you. Should you set it at the top of the zone, the bottom of the zone? Just know if you do it at the bottom of the zone, there's going to be plenty of times when it doesn't fill. It just depends on how eager traders are willing to get in to a long, or to a short in any particular trade. But this one, it did get filled. This is another one that I paper handed. I think it was around this time that we did see a handful of lower lows that I did decide to exit that long. But this is the name of the game. This prevents us from trying to catch a falling knife. Can you see that? Do you see how we're seeing Solana just dump and dump and dump last week, and we're like, man, you know what? It's at a discount. I want to get in. Well, what do we wait for? We wait for a higher high to be confirmed, and then we get in very incredibly close to the bottom. We get in very close to the bottom of a local bottom. So I'm okay not getting the exact bottom. No one's ever going to get the exact bottom on a trade like this. Now, does this always succeed? Absolutely not. In fact, actually, while I'm making this video, there's a possibility that I missed out on a trade. So we can take a gander at this here. I might not even take all that much time. No, let's not worry about it. So you can even see a little bit of yellow on my screen here. That is where I entered the trade. If you can see my mouse, that's where I entered the trade. And if I had more conviction that a reversal was in order, I would have seen massive returns on that on a very high leverage trade. And then you could see actually today a place where it didn't work out, and that's perfectly fine. And I'll explain that in the next slide that we go to. You could see a very small amount of yellow here. Let me zoom in. Let me do a 15-minute chart here. This is a trade that I did that didn't work out, and it's okay. It happens. But you can see what was I looking for here? You can't really see it on the 15-minute chart, but if we were to zoom into the 5-minute chart, what you would see is a higher high forming on the 5-minute chart. And so what did I do? I entered a zone on the body of a candle, and you can see it here on the 5-minute chart. That was my entry. So my entry didn't work out. That's okay. it happens. So I did also do another entry somewhere around here right before making this video. I don't know if it's closed out yet, and it's okay. The losses are so minimal because you have to have tight stop losses, because where would I put a stop loss for a crypto, a trade that I'm entering here? It would just be a little bit below the zone. Any confirmation of a lower low, then I'm looking to exit, because this lack of a higher high was the higher high was just a false sign, But okay, what does this mean? All right, I did talk about already. I talked about hit rates. That as low as 50% could provide you with positive returns. So you got to remember that, because the stops are so tight, that you're not losing out on much. You're not missing out on much with a trade where you end up losing, but then a trade where you end up winning. Like this one, I mean, this was the bottom last week. A trade that you end up winning and you ride that, you take maybe 50% out, you can see enormous returns on high leverage trades. You could double your money. You could do so much more than that. I mean, that trade was entered on the bottom. And so there's a lot of other things that you've got to look for in terms of confluence when it comes to should you enter this trade or not. But in general, if it's just swing pattern failure and you're not even trying to find confluence, I do think that you'll find some success here. But here are some other questions that you can ask yourself, that you should ask yourself when it comes to whether or not you should enter into a swing pattern failure trade. Number one, is Bitcoin in a bull market or a bear market? If it's in a bull market, then you mostly want to be entering longs and having higher conviction on that. If it's in a bear market, same other way around, you're mostly going to want to enter short and have higher conviction with your shorts. And there's going to be times when you think we're in a bull market and we're actually in a bear market, or you think we're in a bear market and we're actually in a bull market, but that should be very rarely. And within a bull market or a bear market, is Bitcoin in an uptrend or a downtrend? So from the time that I'm making these videos, Bitcoin is in a bull market, but up until last week, Bitcoin was in a downtrend within the bear market. That does matter. We had 4 weeks of straight red candles, and then last week had a green candle, but it looked like it was going to be a red candle for the entire week. It ended up being green, and so perhaps we're starting a new uptrend. You never know. So those are questions about Bitcoin, because Bitcoin drives the entire market. By the way, you can do this with stocks as well. Obviously, you're not asking if Bitcoin's in a bear market or a bull market, but just you're asking if the stock market's in a bull market or a bear market. And then here's some questions to ask for any particular crypto. Is this crypto, insert crypto, at a key level of support or resistance? It's more helpful if the cryptocurrency is at a key level of support and you're trying to long it, or a key level of resistance and you're trying to long it. That's going to be helpful. That's just going to add more support, more conviction to your trade. If it is, then I'm going to long at support with much more conviction than if I'm just looking for a swing pattern failure in general. Horizontal trend lines are always the first priority. Look for the trend lines. Look for where Bitcoin should hold, has provided some confluence historically. Look for support resistance flips, things like that. Horizontal trend lines are always going to be your best friend, but then after that, diagonal trend lines and moving averages. And so let me exit that real quick and just point out that Bitcoin right now on the daily chart, I did draw, there are a couple of trend lines here that I am paying attention to. So we had this diagonal trend line that we did finally break through over the last few days, and I'm waiting for a retest of support before going for a very high conviction long. But then there's also the monthly high from 2021 that I've had on this chart since 2022. And I'm wondering, maybe Bitcoin's going to go down and we're going to have a perfect entry right at the monthly high, $61,400 and change. You can see this horizontal line has held very well as support until we lost it as support last week. That might have ended up being a breakout. But then, okay, we bounce off the diagonal line, the horizontal line, these trend lines as support, where we have a very good combination of positions we can enter that would just show us a lot of support. So we look for a swing pattern failure at the intersection of these trend lines. If Bitcoin even gets that low, that would be a fantastic buying opportunity. So you're always wanting to find other levels of support. Moving averages are always good as well. The 20-day EMA, the 50-day EMA, 100-day EMA, 200-day EMA. There's always, you can see lots of efforts to trade based off the moving averages. And then RSI and stochastic RSI, are those overbought, oversold right now? On the daily, it depends on the time frame as well. On the daily chart, RSI and stochastic or RSI have become oversold. And so that just adds even more to this idea that we would potentially be in an uptrend. And so I'm looking to make more longs than I am shorts. There's plenty of other things that I could point to. If you have a good feel for all of these things, then that's a good starting point for how to do swing pattern trades. I would always, I recommend your best teacher is just going to be your actual time in the market doing trades. Do low risk trades, low leverage trades, set your stop losses really tight and see where it goes from there. Those are my thoughts. But in terms of swing pattern failure trading, I really have a lot of belief in it. It's something that, especially when the market is indecisive, I tend to resort more towards that than I do towards other things, which is, may sound like a disagreement with what I said earlier in this video, but swing pattern failure trading in and of itself can be very effective. Now, I do want to point out that we do have a membership on this channel for $9.99 a month. You can join the channel as a member. You can take part in member-only live streams, which we have every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. I'm able to respond to every question in real time that's asked in those live streams. So any trading questions, we're going to be focusing a lot on trading in this channel over now, but especially in the bear market, because there's always going to be a lot of money to be made in the bear market on longs and shorts. Obviously, in the bull market, there's plenty of money to be made. There's a lot more money to be made just buying and holding. But in the bear market, trading can be very lucrative if you're willing to put the effort into it. And if you're looking for a place to trade, I would recommend BingX. That's one of two places that I use for most of my trading, longing and shorting. So there's a link to BingX in the description section of this video. You will have many, if you use my referral link, you will have lots of opportunities to just get free rewards up to several thousands of dollars, depending on how much money you put into that. And then also, if you're in the United States or Australia, sorry, not United States or the United Kingdom, BingX, you will not be able to use it without a VPN, and that's what I do. I use a VPN, so you can sign up for 3 free months of NordVPN at the referral link in the description of this video. So sign up for NordVPN, not financial advice or VPN advice. Sign up for BingX to start this journey yourself, and I think you will do very well for yourself if you're able to be disciplined and to remove your emotions from all of this. So anyway, that is all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of your week. I will most certainly be seeing you in another video. Peace.